اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم السلام علیکم ویورز. آج ہم پھر سے حاضر ہیں محرم ٹرانسمیشن کے ایک اور ایپیسوڈ کے ساتھ. آئیے ہم آغاز کرتے ہیں ہمارے ایپیسوڈ کا سوز و سلام کے ساتھ.
اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے، اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے. اے چاند کربلا کے، اے چاند جلوہ گر ہے ہاشم کا چاند، یہاں پر خیرات روشنی کی لے لیجیو یہاں سے. اے چاند، اے چاند اس زمین پر رکھیو ہمیشہ ٹھنڈک، سوتے جو ہیں یہاں پر زہرا کے ہیں یہ پیارے. اے چاند تسلیم و سلسبیل و کوثر کے ہیں یہ مالک، مارے گئے جو پیاسے اس نہر کے کنارے. اے چاند حور اور حبیب جیسے جانباز اور احبا مارے گئے یہیں پر انصار شاہدین کے. اے چاند مارے گئے یہیں پر بے دردیو ستم سے، مسلم کے دونوں پیارے، زینب کے دونوں بیٹے. اے چاند پامال ہو رہی تھی قاسم کی لاش رن میں، عباس اور سرور چنتے تھے ان کے ٹکڑے. بازو کٹے یہیں پر عباس با وفا کے، اذن بغا نہ پایا پانی بھلا نہ پائے. اے چاند اس سرزمین پہ گزرا سرور پائے بھی صدمہ، سینے پہ کھائی برچھی ہم شکل مصطفیٰ نے. اے چاند گردن میں ایک گردن چھدی پہ سر کی، بازو چھدا پدر کا، دونوں تڑپ تڑپ کر پیاسے جہاں سے گزرے. اے چاند करबला के तूने तो देखे होंगे उतरे थे इस ज़मीं पर अर्शे बरी के तारे ऐ चाँद करबला के।
माशाल्लाह, बहुत खूबसूरत कलाम हमने अभी सुना है। और इस कलाम के साथ हमारा प्रोग्राम का आगाज़ ज़िक्र करबला के साथ हुआ है। और आज का यही टॉपिक है पहले मुहर्रम के बारे में, करबला। और इस टॉपिक को हाँ डिस्कस करने के लिए हमारे साथ एक बहुत खसूस मेहमान हैं, मोहम्मद जाफरी। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
Walaikum assalam.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Mohammed, I've been heard that you've been doing Zakri. Where did you learn how to do Zakri, and when did you start?
Well, I started 2 years ago here
Mhm.
at Babu College,
I see.
and it was from Husseiniya School of Azadari, and the person who taught me was Zakir Qambar Rizvi.
Qambar Rizvi. Okay, I see. And do you have any other reciters that you look up to as motivation?
Well, there's Sayyid Mohammad Rizvi. I like
Mhm.
him a lot.
I
And
see.
also Ahmad Nakran.
Those are two very good reciters, and they're probably also started their ashras regarding Muharram. So, what does the month of Muharram mean to you spiritually?
Well, of course, we all know that Muharram is the first Islamic month of the
Yes.
calendar year. And but for us Shia Muslims, it isn't just about the start of a new year.
Mhm.
It's about a start of reflection. It's about thinking where you are yourself in your faith,
That's
because
right.
it's about sacrifice. It tells us about sacrifice. It tells us about the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It tells us about
Yes.
the standing up for justice and for the truth. So Muharram itself means forbidden, which reminds us that
Hmm.
Muharram, you shouldn't be doing certain things like fighting, causing harm, or other activities as
I
such,
see.
right? So, due to that, we have to go back and see where we are again, where we are in our faith.
Okay, yeah, Muharram is a month of self-reflection. Like, even though it's the new year for us Muslims, we don't celebrate this new year like how the Western part of the world does, right? Where they party and they enjoy. But we use this month as a month of self-reflection. So, how can we as Mu'mineen prepare for this month of self-reflection?
Well, before we prepare for Muharram, we don't just prepare using our clothes or decorating our homes.
Mhm.
It's about like preparing for your heart, like where you are in your faith. How can I get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this
see.
month? So, looking back, we see how we can interact with Muharram, right? Like we could help out in Majalis, we can attend gatherings, we could show our grief through our clothes to show respect and sadness.
I see. Yeah, these are all really great ways of participating in Muharram and grieving. But how can we use this month for self reflection? What are some things we should look upon and be mindful of?
So there's this hadith of Imam Jafar Sadiq al-Islam, our sixth Imam. When Muharram would begin, he would see his father, Imam Muhammad Baqir al-Islam, be seen not laughing as usual, and gloom and sadness would overcome him for
I
10
see.
days. And especially on the day of Ashura, he would be overcome with tears, grief, and sorrow
Of course.
of mourning. So we use this and see how serious it is, how serious this month is spiritually. And the way we prepare for this is also intertwined
Mhm.
with how we view Muharram.
That's true. Yeah, so exactly, we have to use the month of Muharram for self reflection, as you said, right? Be mindful of why we are doing these practices, why we're going to Majlis, why we're doing Matam, to commemorate Imam Hussein, to remember the tragedy. And it helps us in becoming better Muslims, right? When we think about the tragedy of Karbala, we think about the Ahlulbait, we think about Imam Hussein, right? We think about Bibi Sakina, all the young kids that died. And so, how can we use them as role models during the month of Muharram?
Well, when we think about Karbala, we're not just remembering Karbala, we're feeling Karbala,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're feeling is not we're just feeling sad. When we remember Karbala, we feel stronger. It
Yes.
helps us connect with our faith. And the Ahlulbait Islam, we need to honor them. But we honor them from the way and perspective that they want us to. Like how I also mentioned the hadith of Imam Jaffer Sadiq salam of when he saw his father.
Yes.
Looking at that, we have to respect and understand why he was observing such things, which tells us as Mormons to prepare and look at that, to honor how they did it, and we have to act upon it and apply it in our own, situations.
Exactly. So let's kind of bring the conversation back a bit. What do you have in plan for Muharram? What do you plan on doing in the month of Muharram?
Well, of course, first I kind of see and reset. Like
Mm-hmm.
I like how you mentioned about the Western point of view, like
Yes.
how we have New Year resolutions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we as Muslims need to reset the month of Muharram, just like how people make New Year resolutions for their
Yes.
goals for the year. We need to see we need to reset ourselves. We need to focus more on praying. We need to make goals for ourselves. We need to focus on Quran and dua. We need to learn about Karbala. We need to learn about the heroes of Karbala.
That's
Not
true.
just learning, we need to think about Karbala. We need to feel Karbala.
Mm-hmm.
All these things lead to preparedness and readiness for Muharram.
For Muharram, exactly, right? Because the first 10 days, I mean, the month of Muharram is so important, as you said. The first 10 days are so important. So, how can we prepare for these first 10 days? Because we know that we commemorate the Shahadats, right? Pertaining to certain days. And as we will be doing in the coming episodes as well. How can we, as Mu'mineen, prepare for these first few days of Muharram?
So just like how we prepare for Ramadan, we ourselves can prepare for Muharram, like focusing on prayer, making goals for ourselves, calming ourselves down. And just like how us Westerners have our New Year resolutions,
Yes.
we can also create those same similar
I
goals
see.
for
That's a
Muharram.
good idea.
So again, going back to me, if I were in Karbala, right, I would think about what would I have done. Like let that sink in. If I were in Karbala, what would I have done? Like Imam Hussein Islam said that he risen not to spread evil and oppression.
Mm-hmm.
He risen to reform the ummah of his grandfather, Prophet Muhammad
Yes.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He wanted to enjoin good and forbid evil. This
Yes.
is a very famous hadith. I'm pretty sure everyone knows. We see this
Mm-hmm.
in the alam on in Jalus. We hear this in Majalis. But
That's true.
he wanted to enjoin good and forbid evil. That means he had no intention for power. He never wanted power. He wanted to spread goodness for everybody. And we can reflect on this by asking, what am I doing good every day? Am I
I see.
am I forbidding myself from doing bad?
Mm-hmm.
And what am I doing every day that helps me stay away from bad and continue to be doing good?
I see. So you're definitely right. We can use the month of Muharram, Imam Hussein's stand against injustice, to remind ourselves of what we do in our daily lives, right? Do we corroborate with the harm, the oppression going on in the world? Like for we, as example, we can choose to boycott products that support Israel, and we can choose to not give money to companies that support Israel, so we don't fund that oppression. And such, we can take these steps in our daily lives. And the Ahlul Bayt have instructed us to do so. They've instructed us to protect, the image
Of
of
course.
Islam. So how can we move forward with the Ahlul Bayt in mind, and respect their their image, their message? How can we move forward with that in the month of Muharram?
So again, honoring the Ahlul Bayt al-Islam is taking into consideration when we remember them. We remember them with love, with respect, and with action. Because when we shed a tear for Imam Hussein Islam and his family, it said that even if you shed a tear the size of a wing of a mosquito, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will build for you a house in paradise.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. So even the little like acts of love are such big signs for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for the progeny of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
I
wasallam.
see. And there's additional rewards for grieving, the tragedy in Karbala, the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. They say that, and I don't know if you want to expand on this, but if you can't cry, you can just look down and then pretend to cry or be sad, and we get the reward for commemorating the martyrdom of Imam Hussein.
Yeah, of course. Like even those little actions, like for little kids who don't really understand what's happening,
Yes,
they can at least sit quietly. They
exactly.
can just maybe hand out water in majalis. They can set up the chairs in the masjid. Those
That's
little
true.
acts are so significant for Muharram and preparedness for Muharram and acting on the activities for Muharram.
Can't be underestimated. I mean, you're never too young, too old to help in any way. And we see that reflected in Imam Hussein's companions, where they were of all age. He had little kids in his camp, and he had very old people in his camp as well. But they all gave their life. They all fought to protect Islam. And you mentioned this earlier, but we didn't expand on it. There's so many kids of my age, of your age in Karbala as well, right? So what do you think you would have done if you were in Karbala?
Honestly, I would have, um, you know, thought about everything that would happen.
Yeah,
I would take my time and understand where am I in my faith? Am I like close to my faith? Am I close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
I
Am
see.
I like steadfast in my journey? But you know, Karbala, when people were there in Karbala, their journey to Karbala wasn't easy as well. People talk about what happened in Karbala, but they don't talk about the journey to Karbala. When
Yes.
Imam Hussein Islam left Medina to go to Karbala.
Yeah, so let's expand upon that, right? Because today is the first of Muharram, right? Today is the day that the journey is taking place of Imam Hussein alayhi salam coming to Karbala. So can you expand upon that for our viewers? Tell them about the journey of Imam Hussein to Karbala.
So when Imam Hussein Islam left from Medina, from the place where his grandfather was buried, he left to a place called Karbala. They went on their journey and they stopped near a land near the Euphrates River and they asked the locals there, what is the name of this land? One person said Nainawa, another person said Khadiriya, another person said this, another person said that, but one person said Karbala. Imam Hussein knew that this was the land where his and his companions' blood would be shed upon. When Bibi Zainab heard this name of the land, Karbala, she looked at the land and cried. She knew that this was the land where her brother would be faced with such hardship. She remembered the dream where Bibi Fatima her mother told her that this would be your hardest tribulation. This will be a tribulation filled with pain and suffering. Please don't cry, because you need to be there for my son Hussein. Imam Hussein Islam saw Bibi Zainab in such a condition where he started to cry. He said, Zainab, why are you so sad? She said, Brother, you do not know what will happen after you're gone.
Yes, truly the tragedy of Karbala really even started before they even got to Karbala, right? Like how the people betrayed Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and Imam Hussein set on this hard journey, how his companions and his family were not even given water for 3 days. Hardship started way before the actual battle. And in such, the hardship, the events of Karbala serve as a reminder to us, as you said, to be steadfast in our own faith, to self reflect on our quality. Do we stand against injustice in the way that Imam Hussein would have wanted to? Do we embody good and do we reject evil? The qualities that Imam Hussein, these are the qualities he fought for. This is the reason his companions, his family, he himself sacrificed his life to protect Islam so that we are able to follow the true Islam so we can keep enjoying on these qualities. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
time, Muhammad. And I
Of
would
course.
also like to thank all the other participants that have taken part in helping this program happen. And then we can't thank you, viewers, enough for your support. And we give you lots of du'as to keep watching our program and keep supporting us as we go on this journey of 10 days of Muharram. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Khuda Hafiz.